Hello. Have you ever heard of Curious George? Who was Curious George anyway? Just who was he? He was a little monkey. Do you have a monkey? Well, the man with the yellow hat had a monkey. Yes, he did. And he also had a very tall hat with a big brim. His brim stuck right out and it was yellow and it went right up like a dunce cap. Well, once upon a time, a long time ago, Curious George went camping. He did. And they went in their car and they pulled some stuff in the trailer behind. And when they got there to the forest, a park ranger met them. Do you know what a park ranger is? It's a man that takes care of the park. He makes sure that nothing wrong is happening and that everything is good and fine. Have a good time, he said to them. And they drove to a lake. I think you have to pay when you get into the park, don't you? So they went to the lake. Most parks have lakes. Have you ever been to a lake? Did you swim? Once I took my kids to a lake, and I gave them, we went camping in a park like that, and so I picked a camping spot on the other side of the lake from the beach. Yes, I did. And you know why? Because my kids didn't know how to swim. So I put life jackets on them and sent them over to the beach. I went too. But with life jackets on, they learned how to swim because they wanted to go to the beach. And they had to swim across this. It wasn't a really wide lake. It was a narrow bay. But they had to swim for a while to get there. And guess what? After our camping trip, they knew how to swim. Okay, so is that what your mommy does to you? Yeah, I know. You probably have a nice mommy, don't you? Shh. Okay, so he said, here's a good place to set up camp, George. That was the man with the yellow hat saying that. Let's get unpacked. And so they got out, and he said, I'll go get some water to cook with. You can look around, George, but don't get into trouble. Now, what happens when the man with the yellow hat says to George, don't get into trouble? Yes, I know. You're so smart. That's right. He gets into trouble. And so he put up the tent. Oh, no, wait. This is somebody else's. Well, George went exploring. At one campsite, he's hiding behind a tree, peeking out. Little tiny monkey. He saw a man cooking some fish for his family. It smelled good. What do you think that means? At another campsite, a girl was pouring water over a campfire. Now, why would she do that? If you put water on your fire, what's going to happen to your fire? It's going to go out. Do you put water on your campfires? Oh, okay. Well, when you're going to go home, yeah, I understand. But not when you're about to cook dinner. Right. Well, this girl was pouring water all over a campsite. Oh, look. The parents are putting their luggage in the car. You were right. They're going home. I want to make sure it's completely out, she told George. One spark could start a whole forest fire. It's a good point, isn't it? Yes, indeed. Well, George walked on through the green woods until he saw a small tent. He's on a pathway. Right inside was a thin pole standing right in the middle. What do you think there's a pole in the middle of the tent for? Oh, you think so? Well, all right. Suddenly, George heard footsteps. Someone was coming. So he jumped into the tent. Why did he jump into the tent? I guess he was hiding. Why would you hide if you hear footsteps? You don't hear footprints. You only hear footsteps. He jumped into the tent, and guess what happened? He knocked the pole over. Now what's going to happen? Yep, you are so smart. Have you read this book before? Well, the tent fell down on his head, just like you said. And there he is, on the ground, with this big pile of cloth over him. And it's all pegged to the ground, and so he can't just run away with it. Who's in there? A man shouted. Come out right now. He was angry. Ho, ho, ho. George crawled out and ran away. The man was after him. So George climbed to the top of a tall tree. Now he was safe. How's my time going? Oh, it's only been 4 minutes. We're just getting started. So he climbed to the top of a tall tree, and he sat there on the top of the tall tree, hugging the tree and looking around over all the other trees. From there, he could see the man in the yellow hat returning to the campsite with a bucket of water. he had gotten some water. Water's heavy to carry. Have you ever tried to carry a bucket of water around? Have you ever helped your mommy water the flowers and you have to carry the bucket around? It's heavy and it splashes on you and then it goes into your shoes and you get wet socks. Oh well, somebody's got to do it. We now have running water. Do you know that you have running water? You turn on the tap and the water comes out? Everybody didn't do that. No, back in the day before they invented taps, you had to go to the stream and bring it. You did, or dig a hole. And you know how the holes always, you dig a hole and it always fills with water? You know why? Well, that's because, you think if you dig a hole, you're going to dig to China, right? But if you look at a globe, you'll see that there's an ocean on the other side. China is not on the other side if you dig a hole. It's an ocean. And you just try and dig a hole and you'll see what happens. Yep, it'll fill up with water. Oh, Ryan, I'm just joking. It was just funny. Okay, then George saw something scary. Smoke coming from an empty campsite. Fire! Guess it wasn't too crowded a woods if you could see the campsites. We go camping in the summer sometimes, or we used to, and it was our city experience. People in the city go to the campsite, to the campground, so they can get away from things and be in the woods. Well, we're always in the woods. We're always alone. So if we want to be with people, we can take our kids' bicycles so they could play with other people and bicycle around. And that was our city experience, to go to the campsite to go to the provincial park. Okay, so wait a minute. I'm sorry, I get so distracted. George had to stop the fire, and he knew just what to do. What do you think he's going to do? He's so kooky. Okay, he climbed down and he ran to get the bucket of water from his own campsite. George grabbed the bucket and ran past the other campers. Look at that, it's not even splashing on him. He's got it hanging out behind him. Where's that monkey going? A camper shouted. Daddy, I see smoke, yelled a little girl. The man with the yellow hat came rushing out of his tent. Fire, he yelled. Quick, let's go! Everyone ran after George. George was in front. He was the leader. They were playing Follow the Leader. Do you ever play Follow the Leader? Do you play tag? Tag is a good game. Do you know what tag is? It's when you run and somebody tries to catch you. Yeah, you probably played that before. Okay, George dumped his bucket on the fire. Everybody helped pour water on the fire until it was out. It looks like they flooded it. They poured the whole lake onto the fire. That fireplace is going to be no good. I don't think you're ever going to get dinner started in there. The ranger came to see what happened. So did the man whose tent was falling down. Good job, George, he said. Sorry I was angry at you. You're a real fine scout, said the ranger. Hooray for George, everyone shouted. George and the man with the yellow hat went back to their campsite to have dinner. Nobody had poured water in their fireplace, so they were able to get the fire started. Wait, I have to turn the page, but it won't turn. Together. Okay. George, said the man with the yellow hat, you did all right today. Yes, and you probably did all right today too, didn't you? Well, that's what happened when George went camping. Now, what happened when you went camping? Well, write it to me. Okay, goodbye.